Hello and welcome back to the WHL Show. My name is Gabriel, and with me I have co-host Tanner and Adrien, and we are here today to talk to you to get caught up on the goings-ons around the league. We have player stats and standings and everything coming your way. We're also going to do what we missed last week, simply just because we didn't have an episode last week. We're gonna go over the trade deadline and get caught up. If you watched the episode that we did last, which would be about 2 weeks ago, we talked about all of the first half of the big trades before the trade deadline actually came around. I think we were like a day before the actual deadline. So we are picking right up where we left off. We're going to be going into the rest of the trades, and there are a bunch. But before we do that, we're going to get you guys caught up on who the players of the week and the goalie of the week were last week. We're going to chat a little bit about them, and then we're going to go into this week, talk about players of the week, as well as the standings, rankings, stats, all that fun stuff, just so that way we are all caught up on who's leading the league right now, who's both players and teams, and then we'll go into the rest of the trades. It'll be a short episode. We're hoping to get another guest out on next week, so thank you guys for being patient as we figure out scheduling with potential guests and everything there. But this week, as I just mentioned, will be a little bit of a shorter stream. If you are watching us live, thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate everybody who tunes in as we are watching. And if you are listening to this or watching this after the fact, either on Spotify or YouTube, don't be afraid to share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. All the numbers really do help us. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the players of the week for last week. To be clear, this was the week of January 13th, last Monday that these players were announced. So Tana, if you want to go ahead and start with our player of the week from Spokane from last week.
Sure. So the player of the week was Andrew Crystal, his second time getting it this season. And he also got the player of the month in November. He got a hat trick and 4 assists all in a single game in his first weekend as a member of Spokane, which was it in Spokane or not Kelowna that he got 7 points?
I think so.
Because that was big deal.
Yeah.
He has 29 goals, 38 assists for 67 points at the time of this, and a plus 24 in 30 games he played. He led. I don't know if he still leads, but I think he might. No, he does. He leads all skaters in points while sitting second in goals, and he still sits second in all-time scoring for Kelowna and leaves the franchise as one of the best players that they've had.
I know he had 16 points in 5 games or something recently in a stint with Spokane, on a little few games that they had this past week. They've had some really high scoring games that we're going to talk a little bit about in a bit. But Crystal absolutely helped out with most of those, if not all of them. He had, again, 16 points in 5 games played, which is insane. That's over 3 points a game. And there's a reason he was player of the week and an honorable mention in the player of the week for next week or for this week. Adrien, if you want to talk about our goalie of the week for last week, January 13th.
Last week's goalie of the week was Jaden Krause from Victoria. He went 3-0-0 on the week with a 1.76 GAA and a .932 save percentage. He won 6 straight games dating back to New Year's. He allowed 2 or fewer goals in 5 of those games, and has most wins of any goalie in 2025 as of last week.
Okay.
He went undefeated in his 3 road games, starting with a 4-1 victory over the Thunderbirds. He turned aside 29 of 30 shots and held them without a goal on 3 power play opportunities for a 4-1 win. Nice. He is 18, 6, 3 and 3 in his first season as their starting goaltender, with a 2.66 GAA and a .912 save percentage and 1 shutout. He's only had 2 regulation losses of the last week since December 1st.
Dang. That's crazy. And then our rookie of the week for last week, January 13th, was Tommy Lafreniere. Or Lafreniere? Am I saying that right? I'm gonna
One
go
or
with
the other.
we're just gonna go with it. He led all WHL rookies last week with 2 goals and 4 assists with 6 points in 2 games, so average of 3 points a game. He has 15 goals, including 15 power. Wait, is that right? Yeah, 15 goals, including 5 power play goals, and a game winner, as well as 21 assists for 36 points in 39 games, which is, of course, really impressive for a rookie. He sits second in goals and third in points among all WHL first-year players. And now we get to this week, January 20th, which was today, of course, Monday. So we're going to start out with our player of the week. Tan, if you want to, of course, go ahead and go over that. And again, this is for this week, today, announced today, player of the week.
So the player for this week, also from Spokane, was Berkeley Catton. He got 5 goals, including a hat trick and 3 assists for 8 points in 3 games. He got his first hat trick of the year in the 10-0 win against Kelowna on the 15th, and he now has 6 goals and 9 assists in his last 5 games since Crystal joined the Chiefs. He has 20 goals and 42 assists for a total assists for a total of 62 points and a plus 27 rating in 33 games. He sits second on the Chiefs in scoring and third among all skaters in points per game, which is 1.88. And only Crystal and Gavin McKenna on the Tigers are scoring at a higher pace than he is so far.
Dang. Yeah, Catton is really good.
And I feel like he's only, I mean, he's been really good, but I feel like he's gotten better. Whatever. Him and Crystal together have been insane.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. Like, what a good pairing. Like, Spokane really, really lucked out with that trade. That's so
Killed it.
good. And then who is our goalie of the week for this week? Adrien.
Our goalie of the week is Harrison Minigan from Medicine Hat. The Tampa Bay prospect went 2-0 in the week with a .96 goals against average and a .944 save percentage and a shutout. He is 10-8-0-0 with a 2.60 goal GA, a 0.896 save percentage. There we go, and 2 shutouts in his 4th seasons. He held Calgary scoreless on 4 power play opportunities and snapped Ben Kindle's league-leading 23-game point streak in the 2nd shutout of the season. He was named first star of the night and didn't have much time to celebrate as they made their way home to prepare for a rematch. He only played 16 shots in the 2nd game, but they were top-tier opportunities. With the game tied with less than 5 minutes left, he managed to get the puck the whistle late and denied Kalen Parker a blocker save. The dramatic game went the distance with an 8-round shootout that shot Minigan stopped 4 shots, including the game-winning stop on Brandon Grodzinski. He's my 2nd star of the game as they tallied their 6th straight win.
I love how they gave us a whole story.
Right?
Storybook like pros here for goalie of the week. I love because it's like the players of the week. Oh yeah, this is how many points he has. This is how many they are. Then with Minigan, we have a whole like novel story. I love that.
And
Also,
it was also necessary because, like, I mean, that's crazy. I couldn't just leave it out, all the dramatics of it all.
Yeah, for real. It's like, all right, this is he didn't get to watch the games. Congrats, you were reading about them. Our rookie
Catton got some numbers, but like, look at this.
Well, look at this exactly. Here, read this story. Our rookie of the week this week is Ryan Lind for the Vancouver Giants. He fired off 4 assists in 2 games, helped the Giants sweep their latest homestand. The 16-year-old had his 2nd career 3-point game as the Giants thrashed the Tri-City Americans 6-3 on January 17th. Their word choices, so fun. He currently has 3 goals and 31 assists for 34 points. That's a team helper there in 39 games in his first full season. So I love it when rookies or just like any player, like they have like 2 or 3 goals, but then there's like 30 plus assists. Like that's so great.
Mhm.
Team player. And he sits second in assists and fifth in points among all rookie skaters. He's also running a 5-game point streak that has seen him put up a goal and 7 assists. So 8 points in 5 games played. Wowza. All right, we're gonna go into our standings now, talking about the top teams in the East Conference and then the Western Conference. So since you guys are over in the East, if you want to give a rundown over the East Conference, and then I'll talk about the Western teams.
You want me to do Med Head? Okay.
Yeah, you go.
So first in the East, as I mean, it is 100% unchanged from last week, except for the points, is Medicine Hat with a 27-15-2-0 record for 56 points. And this week, their last 2 games was a 3-0 win versus Calgary on the 17th, and then another win against Calgary, but it was 3-2 and in the shootout on the 18th.
In second, there is Saskatoon with 23-15-2-3 for 51 points in their last 3 games. That was a 4-3 overtime loss versus Portland, a 4-3 overtime win versus Red Deer, and then a 3-2 loss versus Swift Current.
And then in third place is Calgary with the 25-12-3-2 record for 55 points. But you know how conference standings are.
Mhm.
And they had a 3-0 loss versus Medicine Hat and a 3-2 loss again versus them the next day on the 17th and 18th. And then they won 4-1 against Regina on the 19th. So they were playing 3 games in 3 nights.
Holy.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at my cat. So our Western Conference, he stretched and his legs went all the way up. Sorry. Okay, our Western Conference. We have in first place the Everett Silvertips, who are absolutely dominating in the regular season so far with 70 points. They have a 32-5-3-3 record. Their last games this last week. Oh my gosh! Sorry, so many cats. On the 17th was a 5-3 win versus the Brandon Wheat Kings, and then on the 18th they had a 4-1 win versus the Prince George Cougars. Our second place team is from the BC division. The Victoria Royals sit with a 25-12-3-4 record with 57 points. They had their last 3 games. They had 2 wins and 1 loss. On the 15th was a 5-4 loss against the Brandon Wheat Kings. It was a very close game. On the 17th, they had a 6-1 win versus Kamloops, and on 18th, did you put this? It says
No,
a 6
that was a back-to-back, yeah.
back-to-back 6-1 wins versus Kamloops. So both that's crazy. That's wild. And then Spokane has from the U.S. division. They have 58 points. They are sitting with the 29-15-0-0 record. So all of their games have ended in wins or losses. They haven't actually seen a post-regulation. That's weird. They haven't gone to overtime or shootouts. Interesting. But their game on the 15th was a 10-0 win over the Kelowna Rockets. Last week they had a 12-2 win over the Wenatchee Wild. We just had to mention that because holy points, holy goals. On the 17th, they had a 5-2 win versus the Prince George Cougars, and then on the 18th, they had a 4-2 loss versus the Lethbridge Hurricanes. So, they are doing really well. But yeah, Everett still stays like the closest that a team has, like the closest team behind them is a 12-point difference because they're in first with 70, and then Spokane is in second overall with 58. So that's 12 points difference. Nobody's in the 60s. That's crazy. And then we're gonna go over the player stats for this past week, and then we're gonna go over our trades to catch up on the trade deadline, and then we're gonna wrap up. So Adrien, if you want to start off with our player points, who are our top 3 in points this week?
Our top 3 in points this week, of course, Andrew Crystal first. Last week, there was 67 points. and he has 76 now. Those last couple games were really good for him. Just a couple. And then in second place, Kyle Chazowski, Portland. Last week 66, and this week 72 points. And third, unsurprisingly, Gavin McKenna, also last week 66 points, has 70 points.
This is the first time that we're seeing McKenna drop in the standings. That's
I
crazy.
know, it's crazy.
Like, whoa. And he's like, Crystal is just taking off. Like, not that he hasn't before. Wow.
Spokane is scary, and I'm glad that
Spokane is like, yeah, they
we
like
don't
started
see them in the East much.
right. Like Spokane, they started off with like not bad at all, but like they've like I feel like the Crystal acquisition was just like really helping them out. And that chemistry, as we mentioned earlier, with Catton is just really good. And they also have Shea Van Olm, and they have all these really good players. So really excited to see how they finish out their season. Tan, if you want to go over who's leading in goals.
I can't. Speaking of Shea Van Olm and Spokane, he is the goals leader in the WHL right now with
See what I mean?
33 as opposed to 31 last week, where he was also in first place. And second, unchanged again, is Andrew Crystal. And last week he had 29 goals, and now he has 31. And then new this week is Luke Misselbacher from Swift, and with 31, and last week it was Chizowski with 29. So
perfect. And then our assists are Gavin McKenna is in first. Last week he had 46, and he had 50 this week. Our second is Tyson Jugnoth of the Portland Winterhawks. Yes, new team just dropped. The Portland Winterhawks. He also has 56 points. Sorry, 50 points. I could read. Last week he had 45. And then in third place is Andrew Crystal with, oh my gosh, sorry, my cat is being so annoying. She's like under the tablecloth that is being, can you leave? Sorry. Our third place is Andrew Crystal. Last week it was Tolk with 42. This week it is Crystal with 45. And then I'll go ahead and go into our goals against average. For our goalies who are leading our GAA, we have Jesse Sanch of the Everett Silvertips. Last week he had a 2.26 GAA. This week he has a 2.24, so he's going down there, which is good. Harrison Minigan, last week it was actually Kraus with 2.66. This week it is Harrison Minigan with the 2.60. And then in third is Jaden Kraus, who was second last week. Last week it was for third place. Sorry, it's word salad here. Last week in third place was Worthington with 2.81. This week in third place it is Jaden Kraus with a 2.68 goals against average. And then Tan, if you want to go into save percentage, and then we'll go into wins after that.
Sure can. First place. First save percentage is Jesse Sanch again. He had 0.917 last week, and it now has 0.915. Second is Max Hildebrand of the Raiders with 0.912, and last week it was Kraus also with 912. And then Kraus has moved down to third place, where last week it was Bjarnason with a 0.912, and now it's Kraus with 0.911. I love how much goalie stats change. It's like kind of so interesting how many different goalies that we've seen like in the top three as compared to the like forwards and defensemen and the goals.
They seem to change a lot more than all the other like point stats.
Sorry for being so like a little like out of it. My freaking cat is causing problems because I'm not paying attention to him. So, he's gonna break things. Sorry. So we just talked about save percentage, and then Adrien, if you want to go into our goalies leading in wins for the season, who's leading there?
So first leading in wins is Dawson Cohen, and he's doing with 22. Last week it was Ravensbergen with 20. Ravensbergen moves down to second place with still 20, and last week it was Cohen, so they flip-flopped. And in third place, Max Hildebrand Raiders. Last week it was Kraus with 18 and Hildebrand has 19.
Yay. Okay, great. And now we have so many trades. So it is now in order from where we left off the last episode. We have a lot of trades to go over here, and we're just gonna kind of just read through them. There was a lot of movement. Man, I'm still sad about that Petro trade. We'll get into that in just a second. So first, we're going to start off with Rhett Ravindal from the Brandon Wheat Kings went to the Kamloops Blazers. I knew him when he was on the Portland Winterhawks, and so he's kind of going around. So now he is back into the Western Conference. He came over to Brandon from Brandon to Kamloops for a 2026 fifth-round pick. And then we have a trade from the Blades to Prince George. Ben Reich, was that how you say it? I say that as a fake Blades fan, apparently. In return for Hunter Lang, Luke Dubas, a 2026 first and a 2028 fifth round pick. Tan, if you want to go over the Crystal trade there, on how many movements there, because there was a lot.
Yeah, so the trade was Andrew Crystal from Kelowna, and in return it was, I don't know which was Hayden Papanikis.
Papanicus.
Sure, yeah. And 2025 first and third round pick, a 2026 second and sixth round pick, and another first round pick in 2027. So lots of picks.
Lots of movement. Adrien, if you want to go over the next few there.
Oh goodness. Taylor Bashnak from Red Deer to Regina for a 2026 seventh round pick.
Landon Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Regina trades, it's always like none of them make any sense to me at all. Like, I mean, every time I look at the roster, it is 12 different guys, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay, cool.
Okay,
That's
cool.
awesome. Good for them.
Landon Calmer from the Kelowna Rockets to the Everett Silvertips was exchanged for a 2026 seventh round pick. Cruz Chase from the Regina Pats to Medicine Hat for another Pats trade where they're sending players away for an eighth round pick in 2028. Alex Garrett from the Brandon Wheat Kings to Wenatchee Wild for a 2028 fifth round pick.
He had such a short stint on Brandon. He played for
a 2028 fifth rounder.
Mm-hmm. It's like it almost felt like they got him until whoever. There was one of them, or both of them were injured. I can't remember, Eskin and Bjarnason. But like, I feel like they got him to fill that spot and then shipped him off again. And it's like, okay, you don't have a kid you could call up to sit on the bench for a bit,
right. Then Ryan Gower from Prince Albert to Edmonton in return for a 2028 sixth rounder. Braden Sherman from the Moose Jaw Warriors to the Seattle Thunderbirds for Cooper Erdewine, a 2028 third and a 2025 fourth round pick. Then we had a fun three-way trade between Red Deer, Moose Jaw, and Swift Current. There's a lot of movement here, so just brace yourself. Moose Jaw acquired Eric Johnston from Swift Current, a 2027 fourth and 2026 seventh round pick from Red Deer. Red Deer acquired Keaton Deheniuk from Moose Jaw, as well as Ty Coupland and a 2025 fourth round pick from Swift Current. And then Swift Current acquired Hunter Mayo and Trey Wilkie from Red Deer. There's a lot of movement there. Three-way trades are always confusing to me. I'm like, what is happening?
As I was writing out the document, I was like, okay, how do I word this to make it as
you did great because there was
understandable as possible.
Yeah, you did great. There was so much going on there. And then we are almost done. We're getting there. Nishan Palmer from the Seattle Thunderbirds to the Red Deer Rebels in exchange in return for a 2025 fourth round pick and a 2026 fifth round pick. Hudson Perry from Edmonton. This one kind of shocked me. From Edmonton to Brandon in exchange for a conditional 2027 sixth round pick. That one was interesting. And then we had a Cole Pearden from Red Deer to Prince George in exchange for a 2026 fifth-round pick. There's a lot of, like, as we're like going through this, you're like, there's a lot of like names that we know and names that like we see a lot in exchange for like picks way down the line.
It is. I feel like the trade deadline this year was just crazy compared to the last couple I've paid attention to, at least.
Yeah.
Which
'Cause
also, I
it's
guess sorry.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say it's like Perry, like, and I'm not speaking on the skill of the players or anything. I just like the names that I know, like Perry, Pearden, Coots, like all of these names that we're reading, and they're being exchanged for 2027 sixth-round pick or a
Yeah.
2026 fifth-rounder, which is like, I know it's next year, but still, it's like it's odd to me that like you know, just for like picks years down the line, and only one for most people. It's yeah. As you can tell,
Cole Pearden there.
Do what?
Sorry. Cole Pearden there. I believe he decided not to join Prince George.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
There's been a
Tragic
couple of
trade there.
those. There's been a couple of
the other one.
like reported to their new team, which is interesting. And I'm like wondering,
someone from Wenatchee?
Zimmer?
Who, oh.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
is
it
it Wenatchee?
Yeah.
Do we remember who it was? Because I
God.
don't.
I'll look it up while we finish up.
Okay, perfect. Our next trade was Sean Coots from Vancouver to Spokane for a 2028 eighth-round pick, which is again fascinating to me. Zachary Chance from Regina to Everett, that was a bigger one, for Shea Rollison and a 2027 second-round pick. So another like higher name Pat heading to the Silvertips, joining Vaughn over there. And then another Silvertip trade, Andrew Petrick from the Everett Silvertips to Kelowna in exchange for a 2025 ninth-round pick. That one broke my heart because I really like Petro. And I actually, we had him on for the show in our very first episode. So if you're also a Petro fan, feel free to go watch that. It was our debut installment for this season of the WHL show. He's a gem and is a lot of fun. So I really hope that he fits in well with the Rockets. I hope that they trade him well. And then whoever the Silvertips get in 2020 this year with a ninth-round pick, I hope that that'll be great. And then finally, our very last trade before we say peace out is going to be Lachlan Tedorenko from the Saskatoon Blades to Portland, which is funny because that's the two cities that you guys are from, and then it's where I'm from. In return for, or at least near, in return for a conditional 10th round pick in 2026, which is quite interesting.
I was really sad. He was my favorite rookie to watch, but hopefully he gets playtime. Actually,
yeah.
And also the Wenatchee Vancouver trade, it was Tyson Zimmer, and he did not report to the Wild. And so for compensation, Wenatchee got the rights to an 07 forward Blake Vanek and a 2028 eighth round pick.
Got you. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. So oops, sorry, my computer just like glitched. Okay. That is about it for this week's episode. It'd be great if my computer worked with me. There we go. That's about it for this week's episode. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. And again, if you are watching or listening to this either on Spotify or YouTube, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment, all those numbers and buttons and stuff. That really does help us out, believe it or not. To the 16 of you that tuned in today, again, like it feels like our numbers are small, but that's also 16 individual people, that are watching us. So thank you to each and every one of you for taking half an hour every day to sit down and watch us nerds talk about WHL hockey. We love it. We're best friends, and it's really great to just kind of just sit down and chat with friends about the sport that we love and the teams that we love. So next week we are hoping to get on a guest. Stay tuned on who that will be. If scheduling doesn't work out, we'll give an update. We'll catch you guys up with the same usual stuff similar episode to this. All of our socials are on the screen for you if you are watching this. Excuse me. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, it is in the description of the episode. So please feel free to check out our socials there for general WHL updates as well as information on when we're going to go live next and all that fun stuff. Yeah. So without further ado, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great